excited to hear this conversation. But you said something in 1961. You drafted or you volunteered, because that's my birth year. So about the time I'm born, you've got a major life event happening in 61. So kind of walk me through that so I can understand what happened the year of my birth.
Well, 1961, my generation, I was born in 1943, and my generation, they have all these labels and so forth. And we were part of that. They said my generation was called the Age of Innocence, and it was a wonderful time. I mean, and yes, I was a little old farm boy, but all that. But I don't know. We'd have double dates, and we'd go to a drive-in movie, and we'd cram kids into the trunk of the car, and all this other kind of stuff. And there was the sock hops, and I had a little girlfriend, and I'd walk and. You'd sit there, and I'd just sitting there, golly, this little girl likes me. And I'd walk her to the door, and she'd lean her cheek over, and I'd give her a "Mwah," and at the last 0.045 seconds, she said, "I had a wonderful time. Maybe we can do it again next Saturday." And I'd walk away thinking, "Boy, you are a stud. You are a stud." But it was a wonderful time to be alive, and sock hops and God, country, and the American way of life. We stood every morning proudly in our school, and we put our hand on our heart, and we pledged allegiance, and we all bowed our head, and we said a morning prayer, and somebody would read a verse, and that was all over America. And it was still, and then it was along about that time that they started taking prayer out of the schools. And then a few years later, then we had this thing called abortion, and I don't know, and right now we are change messengers. We are calling for, let's return. We've got so far out and away from God and away from the things that are true and wholesome and that what made our country and this and that. And it was a beautiful time, a wonderful time. And I'm
Well,
glad you were born. My sister was born in 19, Daddy thought Mama was on the pill, and Mom thought it was over the hill. We had two more youngins after 1961.
well, my parents dropped out 7 kids in 10 years. So there was so much innocence there that they never worried about sustenance. They never worried about having to control that, because they just knew the world was there for them. And it wasn't, they knew that the school had enough room for us. They knew that there'd be plenty of pews in the church for us. They knew there would be food available. Never had the concerns that my generation had. I only have 3 children, and other generations now have to really consciously think about it. So in 61, did you get drafted then? You talked about going in. Did you serve in the military?
I served in the Marine Corps, but I because I was lured by the signs: be a man, be all you can be, and so forth. And my daddy wanted to disown me because he was Army.
Did you end up at Camp Lejeune? Where did you do your training for the Marines?
Quantico, Virginia. That was officer training, and I was in college, and I joined the Marine Corps officer training program and all that. And so when I went through boot camp, there were 1,500 that started. Only 352 of us graduated. And had a lot of city boys and all this other kind of stuff. And man, I was raised tough and hard and rough and all that kind of stuff. And I kept expecting something really tough to take place. But I mean, I was in preparation for Marine Corps training from Daddy all along.
Amen.
I wrote a poem in 1960. Not wrote it. This is a poem, and I remember it very well. Can I share it with you real quick?
Please do. Please do. Stanley.
It goes like this. Did you tackle that trouble that came your way with a resolute heart and cheerful? Or did you hide your face from the light of day with a craven soul and fearful? Or a trouble is a ton, or a trouble is an ounce, or a trouble is what you make it. Be proud of your blackened eye. It's not the fact that you're licked that counts, but it's how did you fight and why. If you've battled the best you could, if you played your part well, why the critics will call it good. The harder your throne, the higher you should bounce. And death comes with a crawl, or it comes with a pounce. And whether it's slow or spry, it's not the fact that you're dead that counts, but only how did you die. And living is a dying process every day. I have to die to me in order to increase.
Stan, that's not a poem, that's a prayer. Okay? Because it truly sets a a connection to where we need to think and where we need to be. So that's blessed. We're going to get that transcribed off of here and put it on our website somewhere, because I want people to respect and understand that that's who I am. And you just described it very perfectly. That's my prayer for my children. That's my prayer for everybody that I love, is to see the world as you just